As good as box-made brownies are, have you ever tried to make brownies from scratch? Brownies are an easy to make recipe that a lot of people add to with ice creams or many things like chocolate chips. Brownies are one of the world's most favorite desserts, and there are so many easy to learn recipes online that you can learn in 5 minutes and create in under an hour. With this being said, we're going to look into the ingredients that are used to make, but just know that when you're making them homemade, it may require just a couple more steps and more ingredients, but I promise you it makes it so much better and adds so much more taste to your brownies. This personally was found online from Love and Lemons, which is an online baking site where a lot of people can add their recipes. So first we have all-purpose flour. In your recipe, you're going to need 3/4 of a cup of this. And then we have olive oil, and we're going to need a half a cup. We have all-purpose salt, which we're going to need 3/4 teaspoons of. And then you're going to have water, which is 2 tablespoons. That ingredient's free, actually. And then you're going to have powdered sugar, and you're going to need a half of a cup of this. Vanilla extract, a half a teaspoon. Sugar, any kind of sugar, you're going to need 1.5 cups of this. And also chocolate chips. In the recipe, it recommends dark chocolate chips, but I don't like dark chocolate, and you can add whatever kind of chocolate chip that you want. But you're going to need a half a cup of this. That's recommended, but you can also add as much as you want. And cocoa, which is unsweetened. You might want to just get the healthier version of this, and this comes from many different brands, and you're going to need 2/3 of a cup. And then your last ingredients are 2 large eggs, and if you have chickens, this is also kind of free. So we're going to get into the process of making this. You're going to want to separate your wet ingredients and your dry ingredients into 2 different bowls. And on the top of these, I wrote wet ingredient, dry ingredient, so we can separate them into different categories. And once you have mixed all of your wet ingredients and all your dry ingredients into one bowl, you're going to take the wet ingredients bowl and sprinkle the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients and slowly mix them all together. Once you have done this, you're going to want to put this in an 8x8 pan. It can be the steel or the glass or whatever pan that you have that's convenient to you. And you're going to want to put your oven on 325 degrees and bake these for 40 to 45 minutes. Now, some people don't know how to tell when brownies are done, so what you do is you take a toothpick and you stick it in the brownie, or you can do anything that would work for this. Take the toothpick out, and if there's still brownie mix up there, then your brownies are not done and they may need to go on for a few more minutes. Once you have done this, you can add more chocolate chips or anything that you want on top. Some people add chocolate drizzle, even when they're cooking. And then once they're done, you're going to want to cut them in little squares, and you can add powdered sugar or add anything that you want on top. With all of this being said, and now that I've taught you a new ingredient and new things to use when you're making brownies on how to make homemade whatever you want, you can even add this to the box mix. Now that we know that, sometimes it can be scary to get out there and learn new things and try new recipes. And for me, I've actually tried a couple of recipes, and sometimes they turn out good and sometimes they don't. So it can all just be a guessing game. This can always also be a reason why many people just like to stick to box mixes, because they're easier, they're more convenient in some ways, and they always turn out the same in most cases. But what you could do is you could start by adding more and more to the box mix, and as you do that, you could kind of make your own homemade recipe. Sometimes it's good to get out there and try new things, because you never know what you're going to create and you never know how they're going to turn out. I love cooking and I love baking, and I think that it's an easy hobby and it's one of the most time-efficient things that you can do. You can bring these to Thanksgiving, you can bring them to school, you can bring them to bake sales, you can also raise money, you can sell them, and you can post on blogs like they did in Love and Lemons. You can post on blogs, and many people can like this, and you can get paid for that. It may actually be a good thing to open up and try new recipes. Who knows, maybe you could create something new and not even mean to, and actually get a lot of money off of your recipe. And with all of that being said, I can't wait to see what everybody else has for this, and that is my hobby, and that's what I like to do, and I'm so glad that I got to teach it to everybody else.